is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Ohio.
It is a day Tyler Mahle has dreamed about since he started playing baseball, more than likely as a little boy in California. Today his major league debut for this 22-year-old right-handed, and he'll take the ball against the Pittsburgh Pirates at Great American Ballpark. Exciting day today. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome as always to Reds Baseball. I know you remember this day, your major league debut. What perhaps is going through Tyler Mahle's mind as he goes out there to get loose?
Well, he seems like the unflappable type. So what he's probably thinking about right now is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Maybe not all the hoopla about his being, his major league debut. He's a guy that has earned his way here. He went down and started the season in Double-A, where he completely dominated the Southern League, and then he got called up to Triple-A and pretty much did the same thing there. So he's earned his way to the major leagues. I'm anxious to see him pitch.
And it's interesting, it's the second time this year, the second time in franchise history, that his battery mate is also making his major league debut.
Chad Wallach is awfully excited. The Reds are kind of thin when it comes to catchers on the 40-man roster. They had to put him on the roster to make them active for today. It is such a big day for Wallach that his father, who's a coach for the Florida Marlins or the Miami Marlins, he got the day off to come up here and watch him play.
Mound opponent for Mahle today, another talented young pitcher in Jamison Tyone.
Well, he started the month with back-to-back quality starts. Very good. And then his last two, well, not so good. 9 earned runs overall in his last couple of starts. Maybe the Reds are catching him at a good time.
All right, when we come back, we will go downstairs to the main man with news and notes on the Redlegs. He's all over this Players Weekend. And standing by when we come back on Fox Sports Ohio.
Was brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer, and by Skyline Chili. Feeling good It's Skyline time.
Hey guys, meteorologist Brandon Orr here from Local 12. Just like yesterday, another nice day. Couldn't ask for better weather out at Great American Ballpark. Low humidity too, so we're not dealing with any of that summertime humidity or heat. Now it is going to be a little bit warmer than yesterday, but only by a couple of degrees. Starting out into the upper 70s, but ending the game close to around 82 degrees. Our next chance of rain here in Cincinnati doesn't move in until tomorrow. Enjoy the game here on Fox Sports Ohio.
It is the final game for the first ever Players Weekend. Players wearing nicknames on the back of their jerseys and on a patch honoring a person or organization that influenced them in their lives. The coaches are also taking part in this. Brian Price honoring Mill Valley Little League. That would be Mill Valley, California. And the skipper talked about the influence.
I never played baseball until I was 10, almost 11 years old. So all my initial basics were introduced there in that little town of 14,000 in Mill Valley, driving your bike to the ballpark and learning from a couple of good coaches, Arnie Weaver and Phil Wild, and I'm greatly appreciative for the skills that they imparted on me years ago.
And we hope that you've enjoyed bringing you all the meanings behind the Reds nicknames this week, and that will continue today. And let's take you around the league. It's our T-Mobile Unlimited Baseball break. Best nicknames of Players Weekend. How about Kyle Seager? Corey gets all the pubs, or Kyle does, excuse me, and he puts Corey's brother on there. Max Scherzer's Blue Eye. There's definitely a story behind that. Just Google it. Josh Fagley, PTNBL. Zach Davies, this is a funny one because we always talk about him looking like he's 12 years old. He's got Bat Boy on the back of his. Two towel for Tommy Hunter. Francisco Lindor, Mr. Smile. Jose Abreu, Mal Tiempo. And Yasiel Puig, Wild Horse. Just a few of the players' nicknames this weekend. First ever for Major League Baseball. But the business at hand, the rubber game of a three-game set, and the Major League debut of that guy, Tyler Mahle. We've been looking forward to it, and it's next with Tom and Chris.
For the first time, it's his 97th career professional start, but his first as a major leaguer, and he is our Elk and Elk storyline today. We caught up with him to talk about this big day.
I mean, it's crazy. It's a dream come true. Obviously, I mean, I've been working for this my whole life, and to be in this situation right now at 22, it's pretty surreal.
Well, you know he's got plenty of butterflies, and he's right front and center. When you are a pitcher making your major league debut, it's unlike being a position player where you get sandwiched in the lineup somewhere. Maybe you not get a ground ball or a fly ball in the field, even in the first 4 or 5 innings. But from the very first time he toes the rubber and throws the pitch, all eyes are on Tyler Mahle. Let's hope it's a real fine day for him.
Well, you looked inside some of those numbers. This young man, 138 strikeouts against just 30 walks. Tyler Mahle's first pitch in the major leagues is swung on and fouled out of play, strike one. His career in this game are underway. Mahle 2 years ago in 2015 won the Sheldon Chief Bender Award as a Reds minor league player of the year. He's been an all-star at every level coming up through the Reds minor league system, and he hadn't been around all that long. A 7th round choice in 2013, and he'll get an out. The first batter he faces as Hamilton runs it down to retire Starling Marte. Take a look at Clint Hurdle's starting lineup presented by Menards. Marte retired, Adam Frazier coming up, and Andrew McCutchen in center. Bell at first, Josh Harrison at third today, and Jay So in right, latter third of Sean Rodriguez, his first start of the series. Likewise for Diaz, just brought up from the minor leagues. And Tyone on the mound. Tyler Mahle grew up in Westminster, California. That's where he was drafted out of high school, signing with the Reds immediately upon being picked in that 7th round of 13. That is in Orange County, California, not too far from Seal Beach and Huntington Beach. 1 ball and 1 strike on Adam Frazier.
He sure has a nice easy delivery, and you can see really just from a few pitches in why he has good command. Keeps his head still, his body under control. You know, he's one guy, Tom, that you can't say his stuff got him to the major leagues. I mean, there's a lot of guys down in the minor leagues that have better stuff, meaning arm strength, maybe better spin on the breaking ball and so on than Mahle. But you know, you've got to command those pitches, and that's where he has really excelled.
Well, we talked about it during the last road trip, and there are baseball people that have been around forever that will tell you guys have to do it. In other words, produce the numbers and produce the results, whether it's a hitter offensively or a pitcher on the mound. And you said the best word earlier. Mahle has earned his way to the major leagues by results, and a nice start here. It's his first strikeout.
Well, his first strikeout is Adam Frazier. He gets it on a slider right here, and Frazier kind of waits on it and then waves right through it. You know, it just looks like Mahle's fastball has some ride on it when he runs it up in the zone. I mean, you don't have to throw hard to get it up there. You just have to know where you're going to throw it and have a little sneakiness to it. I think that's that pitch right there. I mean, Luis Castillo throws probably 5 miles an hour harder than Mahle, but that riding fastball right there, I can see why that can be so effective.
Pretty good pitch right there. 95 movement down and away from Andrew McCutchen. Straight away center field. Billy Hamilton drifting, and how about the first inning in the debut for Tyler Mahle? 1, 2, 3. His family beyond words what they must feel like right now, and perhaps he'll exhale for the first time in about 10 minutes. Inning in the major league debut of Tyler Mahle, retiring all 3 Pirates. So let's see if the offensive side can get things going. Presented by Menards, Hamilton, Cozart, Votto, Duvall, Jeanette, Peraza, Schebler, Wallach, as we mentioned, along with Mahle, both making their major league debuts. And here's Jameson Taillon.
4 of the last 6 starts for Taillon has not been good at all. They have really seen an increase in his earned run average. Gave up 9 runs and 8 runs in back-to-back starts between the Giants and the Reds when the Reds got him on the very 1st of August. Last couple of starts against the Dodgers in St. Louis, 4 and 5 runs. Former #1 pick, 2013, second chosen in the entire draft.
He has made 5 career starts, today being the 6th against the Reds, and they've really battered him around. 25 innings. He's allowed 20 earned runs this year in 3 starts. The Reds have averaged better than a run per inning. Strike 3 called on that breaking ball, and Billy disagrees with the home plate umpire and the crew chief, Jeffrey Kellogg.
Take another look at it. Box Tracks has it right on the edge right there. It might come out of the category of perhaps too close to take.
Cozart, first pitch swinging, lofts one into short left field, handled by Marte, and the first 2 retired. We look at Pittsburgh on defense, presented by Ford. Diaz just brought back up from the minor leagues for the 2nd stretch this year, after they had to put Cervelli on the disabled list. Later in the same day, they activated Cervelli from the disabled list. And they've got some moving parts around here. We've seen Rodriguez at first base, Frazier in the outfield, now he's at second. We've seen Harrison at second, now he's at third. So a pretty versatile bunch.
Yeah, and they have to be, because they've had more than their share of injuries in Pittsburgh.
2 down for Joey Votto.
Cervelli, you're mentioning him going on the DL the same day he came off the DL. He came off the DL from a hand injury and went on the DL with a quad injury. Hurt his leg when he came around and tried to score a run there in that very first game of the series.
Joey last night went 0 for 4, snapping his on-base streak at a season-high 29 games, during which he hit .381 and had an on-base percentage of .545. So Zach Cozart's 32-game on-base streak remains the longest by a Reds batter, and the 2nd longest in the major leagues this year. In fact, Joey Votto, through the first 2 games of this series, does not have a hit. It was his final trip to the plate in the 8th inning on Friday night, which allowed him to continue that on-base streak when he drew a walk. Choking way up on that bat, and a check swing and a foul ball back out of play. The Pirates have never held Votto hitless for an entire series. Doesn't matter if it's a 2-gamer, 3-gamer, 4-gamer. It's never happened. Taillon, 25 years old, won't turn 26 until the middle of the winter, right around Thanksgiving. And he is a graduate of the Woodlands High School in Texas. But he actually played for Team Canada back in the 2013 World Baseball Classic. His mother was born and raised in the same hometown as Joey Votto in Toronto. And his father is from Cornwall, Ontario, Canada. 10 pitches so far in this at bat to Votto. Now pitch number 11. And that is ball 4. Votto did not go around on that swing, so he draws a 2-out walk and perhaps starts a new streak. Nice crowd here today on another beautiful afternoon. Temperatures in the low 80s expected to be the high today with near 0 humidity in the air. Been 2 good games in this series. Reds winning the opener on Friday night, and then Garrett Cole. A very strong performance on the mound and at the plate. Hit a home run for the game's only run. 1-0 Pittsburgh beating Luis Castillo and the Reds. Pirates had very high hopes, and they still do, obviously, on Taillon. But when he came up last year, he was very impressive. He made 18 starts, had an ERA at 3.38. And ball's tomahawked into straightaway center field. And making the play, McCutchen, and that's all for the Reds. End of 1. No score.
I'm excited for this exact pairing. I really am, because I think, Wally he's a mature kid. He's another kid that he's a polished kid. Certainly he's going to have the anxiety and nervousness that goes with his making his debut, and then Tyler the same. But they're working together. I think that I think adds strength. I think it's going to make it easier for them both to debut because of their familiarity.
Comments from the manager, Brian Price. You had a chance to catch up with Chad Wallach before the game today.
Yeah, really interesting to talk to Chad. He's excited. He's probably as excited, or even more so, than Tyler Mahle. I think it came out of left field for him, although he's probably wondering along, because he knew what the situation was with the Reds catchers going off to, having babies being born, both at the same time, basically. Stuart Turner and Tucker Barnhart.
Fastball.
Wallach's a good receiver. I mean, he's steady behind there. He's got good hands. He does a lot of things fundamentally correct. Nice.
Boy, great location there, too. Just tied up Bell down and in. Second strikeout, 4 in a row, set down by Mahle.
You know, some guys throw 95 miles an hour, and they look like they throw 95 miles an hour. Mahle just looks like he's throwing about 85, and the ball just kind of really sneaks up on you. Nice little backup action on a front door fastball.
Now face Josh Harrison, who of course grew up right here in Cincinnati. Princeton High School, went to the University of Cincinnati. 277 batter for the second time a National League All-Star this year was Harrison. And there's 94 up and in to get ahead 0-2. I mean to tell you, and Mahle is as quick a worker as we have seen come up through this Reds organization in a long time. Right there with Mike Leake. He gets a ball and it is going right at him. Of course, Chris, when you're a strike thrower, why not?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, you control the pace of the game when you're the pitcher. And while you're going good, you want to accelerate that because you can control when the batter gets back in the batter's box. Of course, that's with the help of the umpire.
That'll be Cozart in time to get Harrison. 5 in a row retired by Mahle. Look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. Peraza gets a nod today at second base, moving Jeanette over to third, and a rare off day for Suarez. And we mentioned the major league debut battery of Mahle and Wallach. You know, we've shown you the Mahle group that's here tonight and here today for his major league debut. And Chris mentioned earlier that Don Mattingly, the manager of the Miami Marlins, has Tim Wallach, an outstanding player back in his day for a long time, primarily with the Montreal Expos, old teammate of yours, in fact. And Don Mattingly let Tim Wallach have the day off to come watch his son's major league debut, and there he is to the left.
I think that's very cool on the part of Don Mattingly.
Not a surprise, though.
No,
Don Mattingly gets it. The Reds put the big defensive shift on the left-handed batting Jaso. Count of 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 down and nobody on. We'll do it again. You know, when Mahle started last season in 2016, he began the year at Dayton, and he just dominated at that level. 8-3 record, ERA at 2.5. When they brought him to Double-A, it was the first time in his career things did not go his way. Had an earned run average of almost 5 in 14 starts, allowed a lot more hits than innings pitched. And he walked more batters in relation to the number of innings he had thrown. But then when this year started, he went back to Double-A. It was ridiculous. The 1.5 ERA. And very good his first taste at the AAA level.
You know, Tom, you really wonder what happened. I have not been able to follow him, you know, game by game down the minor leagues, whether it was physical maturity that all of a sudden kicked in, or he found that balance between effort and command that every pitcher is looking for.
3-2 pitch. Jaso's given him quite a battle here so far.
Jaso's a good fastball hitter. And that's one reason why for a long time he's been their #1 guy off the bench. Of course, he's pressed into duty every day now with Polanco not available. He can hit the heater, and right now he's just a tick behind it.
9th pitch of this at bat, and there'll be a 10th. So Mahle will throw as many pitches in this single at bat against Jaso, if not more, depending on how it goes, how far it goes, and he threw in his entire first inning in the big leagues to get 3 outs. And he walked him. That's a good at bat.
for both.
Now the shortstop, Sean Rodriguez. Now this guy will be up there hacking. Rodriguez is up there to swing the bat, always has been. We've seen him through the years. Having battery mates make their major league debut on the same day. It's happened a number of times in the major leagues, but it certainly is pretty rare when you look through the history. Up until this year when it happened for the Reds, it was the first time for any team in the majors since 2008. The Washington Nationals had a pitcher and catcher make their major league debuts in September of that year. See you later on the high fastball. 3 strikeouts through the front 2 innings. 1 walk, 1 left.
My papa, who was a big baseball fan, and he passed away right before I got my call up to the big leagues. So he was hanging around, and he told me and my dad he was hanging around to see me make my big league debut. And in my belief, I'm sure he was there with me, you know, maybe sitting in the dugout next to me during the game.
It's good stuff from Scooter Gennett, of course, his given name Ryan. Been a good idea this Players Weekend, the inaugural Players Weekend, where fans have really, had the chance to, learn what a guy's nickname might be and hear some of the stories. And our production team here at Fox Sports Ohio has just done such a beautiful job of interviewing virtually every single one of these players and coaches and the manager Brian Price, and who they're wearing their various patches for. Those that have helped them reach the big leagues in some form or fashion. Most of them are their mom and dad. But you heard in Scooter's case right there, his grandfather also part of it. Thus the crucifix that he wears on his patch. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Gennett. Scoreless game. Look out.
I particularly like seeing all the different uniforms that the team, the different color schemes and how they're wearing the different uniforms. A little limbo action.
But you're pretty good at limbo. You're pretty, you're a pretty flexible cat for a big, tall guy.
Yeah, flexible with no balance. That's a bad combo
for limbo. Two on the way. Just off that outside corner with a 97-mile-per-hour fastball from Taillon.
Now, the only player that was drafted ahead of Jameson Taillon in 2013 was Bryce Harper. The guy that was drafted after him was Manny Machado. So you're in pretty good company right there. Also in that first round of the 2013, Drew Pomerantz, Matt Harvey, Delino DeShields, and the Reds picked up Yasmani Grandal that year.
Ball hit hard in a deep left center field by Jeanette. McCutchen will not be able to get it up against the wall. And Scooter starts the Reds' second inning with an excellent trip to the plate. Fouled off a lot of pitches, worked deep into the count, and caps it off with a two-base hit.
Well, his ability to hit the ball the other way with power, I think, is the biggest surprise that people who watch Scooter Jeanette will say that he brought here to the Cincinnati Reds this year. Nearly run down by McCutchen. That ball just kept going and going.
All right, let's see if the Reds can turn that leadoff double into the game's first run. The batter is Jose Peraza. Shows bunt. And the throw is into center field off the glove of the shortstop Rodriguez. That's a very tough play to make to get an out on.
Very sloppy and low percentage as well. Diaz just called back up to the major leagues. He was trying to hit the shortstop on the run right here.
Jeanette 90 feet away with nobody out and a 1-0 count on Peraza. Down the right field line and out of play. Pirates conceding the run. If the ball's hit anywhere in the infield, perhaps with the exception of right at the third baseman Harrison, who's playing even with the bag, but Bell a good 10 feet behind the bag at first, in the middle infield at regular depth.
And of course, really, that's what the Pirates' plan is. If you're Taillon, you're thinking in the back of your mind, hey, now that I got 2 strikes on this guy, I'm going for a strikeout because maybe I can get through this inning without giving up a run. That's his main off-speed pitch right there, overhand curveball. It's a good one. He splits his fastballs 50-50 really between 4-seam fastballs and 2-seam. 4-seamers upstairs and 2-seamers downstairs.
3-2 the count on Peraza. Jeanette at third base. And once more fouled out of play. We're going to check in with Jim Day here in a minute. We understand he's caught up with the Mahle family. And we'll wait and see if Peraza can get this run home and hear from them on such a big day. There's ball 4. All right, let's send it downstairs to Jim Day.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. One of the favorite parts of the job, to check in on appearance on a major league debut. This is Mom, Lisette Mahle. This is Greg Mahle here. And from California, got here last night. I'll start with you, Mom. Your son strolls out to a major league mound. Long time getting there. What's your emotions?
It's amazing. It's a dream come true. Absolutely surreal.
Did you have any tears in your eyes?
Totally. During the national anthem, that song just gets me every time.
All right, Dad. Long road to get here. I can just tell by talking to you for a few moments how excited you are.
Oh, I'm absolutely excited. My son got drafted out of high school, and it could be just a terrible road, a long road for the minor leaguer. And the Reds have just been so supportive and rewarded him whenever he did what he's supposed to do, and we're just so excited.
Who do you got here today?
Me and my wife, Lisa. We have Tyler's girlfriend, Kenzie. We have his agent.
Lisa run here. Uh-oh, look out. All right, they got your son to lead here.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. We'll take a few more.
Now, you got to feel extra proud that, you know, he wasn't a real high draft pick, and he got here earning it.
Well, they were wrong, for one, to start with. But, yeah, no, he's a control specialist, so that's pretty natural. And he's tried to just perfect his game, and that's gone well for him since day one. And so he's here today after a lot of hard work and continuing to throw strikes. So throw strikes is the name of the game, and he's here today because I'm so proud of him.
And he works quickly. Did you teach him that?
I think, well, right now I think he works quickly because everything seems like it's going 160 miles an hour. That's why he's working quick. No, he's always worked quick. Yeah. He gets in his own rhythm if he can get into that. I mean, I actually told him, here's a funny story, that I hugged him and wouldn't let him go. And I said, work at your rhythm, and things are going to go so fast today. If anything goes bad, and if it does, step back and do not let the game control you. Just slow it down. And so far, things have gone well for him. So we'll see what happens on the other side if it does. But
terrific advice. You might have a pitching coach in your future because we need to send you to the mound. That's great advice. Mom, I know you've had a lot of time to think about this moment. Do you hearken back to even when he was a little leaguer and going to school and picking him up and all that? Has it all come full circle today?
Totally. Absolutely. He, you know, when I was going to sign up my other son, Greg, and Tyler was too young. He was like 4 years old. I won't say which league, but they asked me why I wasn't signing up Tyler, and I said, well, his birthday's 9/29/94, and she said 92, and I said 94, and she's like 92, and I said okay. And so we signed him up, and he's been playing since he was a little guy, and it just seems like it was yesterday.
Well, one last question. I told you in spring training, he's a guy that keeps his head down. He's very polite, goes about his business. You said he's a good boy, and I would agree with you. You've done a good job with Tyler.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. I appreciate it. He is a good boy. He's absolutely my heart.
Well, I can tell. Mom and Dad here. Big day for the Mahle family, Tom.
Hey, Jim, before you let him get away, he's coming up to bat. Ask Dad or Mom, can he hit?
Oh, yeah, can he hit, Dad?
Well, if he can lay down a bunt, then we'll be happy.
Well, we're 2 outs here.
He's gonna put the ball in play.
All right, there you heard it from Dad. He's going to put it in play.
Tell you what a very impressive mom and dad. Yeah. I mean, grounded, you can tell, and focused on all the right things. And let's see if he puts it in play like Dad said. That's all right. His job's to get him out. Reds get a run and lead at the end of 2 in Mahle's major league debut, 1-0. IGS bringing the energy. Been plenty of energy in this Reds rotation over the last 3 days. The youngsters Romano, Stevenson, and then Castillo here last night. And now Mahle making his major league debut here today. Look at those numbers for the Red starters. Gives you an idea if this team had some starting pitching, what it's capable of doing. They've won 2 of those 3 games.
Well, you're right, and it's a short sample size so far, but you do like what you see because they came out throwing strikes. Romano and Stevenson used both sides of the plate, which I thought was very impressive, in sharp contrast to what we saw earlier this year from Romano, and really what we've seen from Stevenson. So they're making steps forward.
All right, Mahle's gone through the first 2. He's only allowed 1 base runner. That was a 2-out walk to Jaso in a lengthy at bat in the second. So he'll face 8, 9, and 1. The catcher Diaz, a pitcher Tyone, and then back to Starling Marte for a second time. Mahle waiting on Diaz to get in there. Two balls and no strikes to the Pittsburgh catcher. And that's out of the strike zone, 3-0. 100 at bats exactly for Diaz at the big league level this year. 250 batter, a home run, and 16 knocked in. That's a 4-pitch walk, and those have been rare all year long for Mahle. We talked about in his 24 starts combined at Pensacola and Louisville. He had struck out 138 batters and walked only 30. He only had 2 starts this entire year where he walked 3 batters in a game, and you see even in the minor leagues before this year, that is an incredible strikeout to walk ratio, especially for a guy signing out of high school. When you think about that, all the pitchers we have seen this year that can't get through 3-4 innings in a game, and I'm talking about for teams all over baseball, without walking 3, 4, 5 guys, and in 24 starts The most he's ever walked in any of them would be 3, and it happened just twice.
Well, you know, it's interesting, Tom. I had a theory on that, and the theory that I have is that you get a guy who's a really hard thrower, and that's why he got signed, and that he's going to show everybody that he's a really hard thrower. So coming up through the minor leagues, that's his #1 priority, to continue to throw hard so people will say, hey, this guy throws 98 miles an hour. Mahle looks at these kind of pitchers and says, I can't do that. So I have to excel some other way. And by commanding your fastball, and his dad really put it in the greatest terms, you know, it's all about throwing strikes, slowing the game down and throwing strikes. And I think that, you know, that's why he's probably ahead of the game at 22 years old in developing a breaking ball, commanding his fastball, have a feel for using his changeup and changing speeds on his fastball. I'm not so sure he's really thrown a changeup yet. I think he's changing speeds on his fastball so far, which is something you rarely see out of a 22-year-old.
First time the Pirates have put a runner in scoring position against Mahle. And he misses high. Ball 1 to Marte, who flied out to center field, the very first batter that Mahle faced in his major league debut. Number of games around baseball already underway. The Cubbies came away with a win in Philadelphia, so the rubber game of that series. The Cubs, the Brewers, the Cardinals, and the Pirates had all lost 2 in a row going into play last night. And all of those teams came away with wins. Fastball high, so Milwaukee starts today 3 behind Chicago. St. Louis 4.5 back. Good fastball there on the outside corner to even the count on Marte at 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's a tying run out there at second base after a leadoff walk here in the 3rd. Slow tapper is going to be a tough play. Cozart throws and Marte legs it out for an infield hit. And on to third goes Diaz.
Well, when he wants to, Marte can run, and he got down the line very quickly that time.
So the first big threat against Mahle as a major league pitcher comes in the Pirate 3rd inning. And now he faces Adam Frazier. Frazier struck out in the first. Marte can run. Of course, he's missed so much time this year due to the suspension for PEDs. He's 12 of 14. And you said Wallach's a good catch and throw guy. We'll see if the Pirates have any action here with runners on the corners and 1 out. Well, this is the first inning now where Mahle has started to fall behind batters pretty regularly in this inning. He fell behind Diaz. First couple of pitches wound up in a 4-pitch walk. Fell behind Marte 2-0 before getting 2 strikes. And now falls behind Frazier 2-0. Can they turn it? There's one. And how about Tyler Mahle? On a 2-0 pitch gets Frazier on a ground ball double play. Spring training experience out in Goodyear, Arizona, sponsored by the Reds Community Fund. 2 lucky winners will enjoy breakfast with the team. You get the VIP treatment, airfare, hotel accommodations, so much more. All proceeds benefit the Reds Community Fund. Call 513-765-7700. What a big day for those 2 young men. I'm sure Jim Day will maybe try and catch up with Tim Wallach to hear from him about making the trip in for his son's major league debut here today. The Reds catcher Chad Wallach. And there's a base hit into center field by Billy Hamilton, with the Reds leading 1-0 to start the bottom of the 3rd. Adam Frazier, by the way, has left the game. Max Moroff has taken over for him at second base. Wonder if he didn't tweak something trying to leg out the back end of that double play which ended the inning. Hamilton 54 stolen bases, big lead over there. And Cozart down a strike. Zach flied out to the left fielder on the first pitch of his first at bat.
Well, Billy Hamilton gets it going here in the top of the inning with a base hit. The Reds have been looking in this series for the top half of their order to really get some offense going. They have not done much. It's been the bottom half that has done most of the damage as far as hits, runs batted in.
Now Hamilton will advance on to second base on the wild pitch by Taillon.
Here's what I'm talking about here. The hitters 1 through 4 in this series against the Pirates. 3 for 36 overall. And that's a 108 batting average. They have hit a home run, but the bottom half of the lineup, look at that. That's where all the damage has been done. Of course, a lot of that has been Scott Schebler.
Well, Tucker Barnhart's had a really good series.
He sure has.
Gets a day off today. And that ball just eats up Harrison. And advancing on to third is Hamilton. Looked like he got caught between hops. And it scored a base hit for Zach Cozart.
Well, it was a nasty hop, no doubt, but he played it off to the side, Harrison did, and the ball just glanced off his glove. So the Reds now have gotten a break with a wild pitch. A misplay. I mean, that's not really, he didn't learn that in Cincinnati, I can tell you that. You gave him a hit on that, huh?
They did. Now Votto with runners on the corners and nobody out, trying to add to a 1-0 lead here in the third, and a breaking ball from Taillon drops in there, a strike. We'll see if Taillon follows really the pattern that we see with most pitchers who end up going 0-2 on Joey Votto. You go after him early on and then nibble around, and all of a sudden you're into a 3-2 count. Ball and 2 strikes on Votto. Back-to-back hits to begin this Reds third against Taillon, and they're on the corners. 2-2. That one hooked down the line, and that is a foul ball, not by much, but clearly foul.
Well, Taillon ought to see it right now that he's not fooling Votto at all with the breaking ball. The last two breaking balls that he has thrown anywhere near the strike zone, Votto has put pretty good wood on him, and a really balanced swing. I mean, that's a good pitch right there. Good location. You're going to get a lot of left-handed hitters out with that pitch, but not Votto. Probably go right back with the fastball right here.
Break-even pitch, 2-2 to Votto. Came back with that fastball, ran it in on him, and Votto able to fight it off at 97 miles per hour.
Yeah, but look at the difference in the quality of the swings between the last two.
Votto had an 11 pitch at bat his first time up, and this will be the 8th pitch in the at bat his second go round. So he's seen just about everything that Taillon has to offer. 2-2. Good breaking ball, but Votto able to fight it off and roll over it foul. Once more the 2-2 to Votto. Fouled out of play once more. This will be the 22nd pitch that Votto has seen in his first 2 trips to the plate. He has fouled off 11 of the prior 21. And the catcher Diaz just trying to give Taillon a breather here in this battle with Votto, with runners on the corners and nobody out.
Well, he had a rough inning in the second, last inning, when he had the first couple of batters reach. Double, a walk, and eventually was down at the bottom of the order when he was able to strike his way out of the side. A different story here when you reach the first 2. Now you're right in the middle of the order.
Runner goes, and there's ball 4. What an at bat for Votto. Second time he's walked in the game. That's a 3rd walk already for Taillon in this game. Number 2 pick in the draft. And now 25 years old, and Taillon is today making his 20th start of this season after being brought to the major leagues for the first time a year ago. Now, in fairness to Taillon and his development, this was a young man who missed 2 full years with injuries. So even though he's 25 years old, the wear and tear on that arm, when he missed all of 2014 and all of 2015, he was ranked as the Pirates' number 2 prospect as such a young man before he suffered the Tommy John or injury to his elbow and underwent Tommy John surgery. He had 2 surgeries. A lot like Homer Bailey. He had that ulnar collateral ligament surgery, which Bailey had first. That came in 2014. And then the Tommy John surgery a year later.
Well, the other thing that happened to Tyon last year, he was struck in the back of the head with a line drive when he was playing against the Milwaukee Brewers. In fact, Scooter Gennett was on the field at the time, or at least in the game at the time. The ball came off the bat of Hernan Perez's at 105 miles an hour. It caromed off the back of his head and went into left field, and he stayed in the game.
He's had a number of injuries all along the way. He's had a groin injury going way back to when he first got into professional baseball that cost him some time. And he is in a little bit of trouble here with the bases loaded and nobody out. Good breaking ball there. 1-1 on Adam Duvall. Duvall flying out to center field his first time up. And there's Gennett waiting in the on-deck circle. One ball and 2 strikes on Duvall. Well, that's a nasty pitch right there. And Duvall gone looking for the first out here in the inning. You called it earlier, Chris. That's his bread and butter pitch.
Well, it is, especially against right-handers. I mean, it was the same pitch he tried to get Votto to chase and miss, but Votto kept being able to put pretty good swings on it. That one just fools Duvall.
Scooter Gennett, we talked about it, has 3 grand slams already this season, which matches a Reds single season franchise record. No Red has ever hit 4. And he has a bases loaded with 1 out and a 2-0 count coming up. Look out on this pitch right here. Tyone has shown a tremendous breaking ball throughout the day, and especially here to the last batter, Duvall, but will he throw it 2-0 on Gennett with the bases loaded? Straight up in the air. And this will be the second out of the inning. It was not a fastball. Or if it was, he took a lot off the fastball because he's been throwing it 97, and that pitch was 87. If Red hits a home run off that Toyota sign in right center, Joseph Dieters from Westchester, Ohio, will win a new Tundra. Register for your chance to win. Stop by your Cincinnati and/or Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. So the bases loaded, nobody out. All of a sudden now is bases loaded and 2 outs, and a strike 1 to Jose Peraza. One ball and 1 strike with the bases loaded and 2 away. Waitea Taillon has done his best pitching. He still has 1 more strike and 1 more out to go, but this is the best he's looked all day long these last
all of a
3
sudden,
batters.
It looks like he's got renewed life. Life on that fastball. Pretty good location. I'd imagine you're going to see the curveball right here, his go-to strikeout pitch.
1-2 on Peraza. And it's in the air. And he will get out of a bases loaded, nobody out jam, will Jameson Taillon. Reds miss a huge chance. Still lead 1-0. Young man, to quote Chris Welsh, and it's true, he has earned his way to the big leagues. And some of the highlights, you know about the perfect game he threw in the 3rd week of April for Pensacola, and then threw a no-hitter while with Daytona last June. I mean, the results are there. I had a long conversation with a longtime major league scout on our last road trip, and he just kept saying over and over and over again, he said, so many of us, and he was including himself, he said, so many of us get wrapped up in the potential and the stuff, and, you know, the potential being the key word there with some of these pitchers and some of these batters. And he said, I would challenge you to find anybody, not guys that have just made it to the major leagues, but guys that have been good major league players that didn't always have good minor league seasons. It's not to say you can't have a hiccup, one stop along the way, but most of the time what they do in minor league seasons is what you're going to see more than likely at the big league level if they're good enough to reach the big league level. Meaning guys don't go from hitting 240 as here's one up under the chin of McCutcheon. They don't have a bunch of years, you know, or like in Jesse Winker's case, time will tell. but everybody says the power will come as you get older. But he hasn't hit for power in the minor leagues. He's done a lot of things well. The only guy I can ever remember seeing who became something that he never was in the minor leagues was Sammy Sosa. And you could argue as to reason why it happened that he wasn't a home run hitter in the minor leagues and became one in the big leagues. But Mahle has been doing it. There's a ground ball to short. That is a pretty impressive pitching at bat right there by Mahle.
McCutchen feels like something went on here. He feels like perhaps it was catcher's interference. He's going to go back and talk to the home plate umpire about that. Then Hurdle's going to come out. First of all, McCutchen is hot about being knocked down on the first pitch. We're going to get McCutchen out of there, Joey Cora is, because there's no way that they're going to lose him on top of losing a number of other players that have been on this roster and injured. Maybe it wasn't catcher's interference. Maybe he tried to call timeout and it was not granted to him.
He screamed a timeout.
Oh, okay. Remember how hot Joey Votto got one night when he asked for timeout and was not granted timeout.
Malle's working so quickly that Jeanette wasn't even ready when that pitch was delivered. Mahle was already into his windup when you saw McCutchen scream out timeout. Now we don't know whether that was the first time he'd asked for time. Well, he is some kind of hot down in that dugout. There's a third walk given up by Mahle today. Well, as promised, big league debut for Mahle, also the big league debut for his battery mate Chad Wallach, and Jim Day is standing by with his dad.
Tim Wallach, 5-time All-Star, one of my favorite players I used to watch. Got to be a proud dad right now.
Yeah, I really am. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the Marlins allowing me to take this time to come watch Chad's first big league start.
Thinking back to when you made your first big league start or major league debut, did you give him some advice today?
I just told him to have fun, relax. I told him I'd be a lot more nervous than he is, no doubt about that. I mean, I'm more excited for him getting this opportunity than when I first got called up. It's pretty cool.
Give us a scouting report. We saw a lot of him in spring training. By the way, outstanding young man. Scouting report on your son.
Well, he's got a little power. He has struck out more this year than he has in the past. Usually walks some. This year he hasn't walked as much, but when he's using the whole field, he's a pretty good hitter, and that's the one thing he started doing later. The last couple of weeks he's been swinging the bat well down in Louisville, so hopefully brings that here.
I imagine he picks your brain a lot.
Yeah, sometimes he doesn't want to hear it, but that's most kids. But he's taken more from me over the last probably 4 or 5 years than he did earlier than that.
Have you also had to be kind of a psychologist as well? I mean, it's tough in the minor leagues, as you know, and to get here is a long road.
Yeah, it really is. It's a tough game, and you just try to encourage him and keep helping him try to get to where he wants to be, and he got here, and it's been a good journey.
I know Mom's taking a break right now. She's here as well. How has she been throughout this?
She was more excited, I think, than anybody around, so she's thrilled, and we're both very proud of her.
Appreciate your time. Glad you could be here, and again, kudos to Don Mattingly.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
That is Tim Wallach, and you want to talk about a player, boys? Woo!
That is a fair ball up the first base line. This is going to get the Pirates on the board. In fact, this will get the Pirates a lead. I think Joey Votto is even surprised that was called a fair ball.
Well, as soon as it went over the bag, it certainly looked like it was well into foul territory, but the first base umpire, Chad Whitson, is the guy that made the call as it going right over the bag or not. It's not where it bounces past the bag, it's actually where it is when it's over the base.
So rare wildness, and certainly can understand a bout of wildness when you're making your major league debut, but it has come back to haunt Mahle here in this fourth inning. Issued a 1-out walk, then hit a batter after nearly hitting McCutcheon to start the inning. And Jaso is the one guy in this lineup maybe than any other player that has had a couple of excellent at bats, and he has had just an awful offensive season. He would be the first guy to tell you. The last time we saw Jaso, he was in the midst of nearly an 0 for 40 stretch, and he came into the game batting .216 today. Yet he has a walk and now a 2-run double. And Mahle falls behind Sean Rodriguez, 3 balls and no strikes.
Well, let's call it the way it is. That double was just a well-placed ground ball.
That is the 4th walk for Mahle, and it's certainly noteworthy based on what we told you earlier. But listen to this for a minute as Mac Jenkins comes out of the dugout. Today is the 97th professional start for Tyler Mahle. Only one other game in his career as he walked 4 batters in a game, and that goes all the way back to July of 2014 while pitching for Billings. So Mac Jenkins back to the dugout. Two on, 2 in, 1 out. And the number 8 hitter Diaz swings at a pitch up and out of the strike zone and fouls it away for strike 1. Seems to be missing a high pretty regularly, Chris, in this inning with that fastball.
Well, working under it a little bit, and I'm wondering if maybe he's getting a little bit gun shy too. You go through the order a couple of times now, and you're thinking, all right, what do I have to do differently than I did the first time?
There's a line drive and a good thing right at Schebler and right. That's the hardest hit ball in this game by far against Mahle, but it's allowed out. Why not commemorate this inaugural Players Weekend at MLBShop.com with limited edition Reds jerseys and tees featuring player picked nicknames, available while supplies last at MLBShop.com. Right now the pitcher Tyone, who will bat with a lead for the first time in this game. Pirates in front 2-1. Tyone got out of the worst jam you can possibly be in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Bases loaded, nobody out, and he had the 4, 5, and 6 hitters coming up. He got strikeout, foul out, fly ball to center, no runs for the Reds. And now here in the fourth, they have taken a lead. And that's all. Pirates get 2 and lead 2-1 after 3.5. Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer, Ford, go further. Fox Sports Supports proud to team up with Girls on the Run and their dedication to empowering young girls, instilling confidence through running. Learn more about how you can get involved this fall and visit foxsportssupports.com. Big hello to those watching over at Cincinnati Children's today. We hope you're having a great day on this beautiful Sunday and pray for a great night, an even better day tomorrow. Good crowd on hand today. Had a real good crowd here last night, 35,000 plus. Had the big concert last night, the Avid brothers after the game. And by all accounts, that was an outstanding show, wrapping up our Ohio Lottery concert series for the summer, and I'm sure that will be back in full force looking ahead to 2018. Why wouldn't it be?
Well, you're not kidding about that. Big crowd last night. Great night to have a concert.
Reds down a run as they bat against Jamison Tyone here in the bottom of the fourth inning. It'll be Schebler, Wallach, and Mahle. Tyone runs that fastball up and in, and Schebler chases it and is able to foul it off and out of play. Cubbies early on, a 3-0 lead at Philadelphia. Brewers will be in Los Angeles after beating the Dodgers last night. They'll wrap up that series later this afternoon. Breaking ball in the dirt. And the Cardinals are underway, bottom of the first inning, hosting the Tampa Bay Rays in the finale of that set. Reds will enjoy an off day tomorrow. And then for the first time all season long, we'll play the New York Mets starting on Tuesday night. High bouncer. And getting to it before a second hop is the shortstop Rodriguez. That enables him to throw out Schebler scooting up the line.
A two reasons you want to get to that on the high hop. Number one, it's easier to field the high hop. And number two, Schebler, for a big guy, really runs well. I would say behind Hamilton and then Peraza, easily the third fastest guy maybe on this roster.
Here's Wallach. He struck out his first time up. You heard his dad say that Chad had struck out more this year than at any point in time during his professional career. Wallach is 25 years old. He was a 5th round pick originally by the Marlins in 2013 and then came over with Anthony DeSclafani in that Matt Latos deal in December of 2014. Career .266 hitter in the minor leagues, and the most home runs he's ever hit in a season before this year was 8. That was a year ago.
Whoa. I thought he got it better than that. Sounded good off the bat. Yeah, we're reminded when the Reds went to Montreal to play in the spring training exhibition game. Chad Wallach was on the roster when they introduced the rosters. He got a huge applause up there because the fans, of course, remember his dad, who we affectionately nicknamed Eli. Eli Wallach. Remember him as an actor in all those old westerns,
sure,
like the good, the bad, and the ugly. Godfather 3.
Was a Godfather 3 a western?
No. Maybe a spaghetti western.
I mean, it was set in Vegas, so, you know, maybe. Maybe. In the hole, can Mahle beat out the throw? He will get there in time, and I'm sure that'll be scored an infield hit. That was an outstanding effort by Sean Rodriguez. And Mahle, as his dad said, would put it in play today, and he does that for his first major league base hit. Congratulations, and he'll go to second on a throwing error.
Now the key words there, Tom, putting it in play.
He hit that ball hard.
Yeah, he did.
Well, that took a wicked bounce. I tell you, Josh Bell is lucky that ball didn't hit him in the face. That didn't look like a normal hop off of infield dirt. It's almost it may hit a pebble or somewhere where there's a mark in the dirt area around there. It just popped straight up almost like a Super Bowl. See if Hamilton can get Mahle home. Billy singled into center field his last time up. That was in the last inning when the Reds loaded him up with nobody out and couldn't push a run across. Tyone really got down to business. Made an outstanding 2-2 pitch to Duvall to strike him out for the first out. Threw a 2-0 pitch off speed of some kind and got Jeanette to pop up to the catcher for the second out and got Peraza to fly ball to center field to end the inning. And Tyone still throwing very hard despite the fact that he is at the 90 pitch mark coming up here in the 4th inning. Tim Mahle getting away from that Miami Marlins team. That's a team that is quietly sneaking up on a lot of people. They're all of a sudden 2 games over the 500 mark, and they are only 4.5 out of the wild card. So they're right in the thick of things. Philly swings and fouls it out of play. And we talked earlier about how it looked like Arizona and Colorado would run away and hide from everybody, and they did for a long time. Colorado has really stumbled along. Arizona started to stumble and has played a little bit better lately, but that wild card race is wide open, including Milwaukee, Miami, and the Cardinals, all within 5 games of getting in the postseason.
Well, the Pirates were right in that conversation too until about the last 2 weeks.
Yep. Another lengthy at bat by Red. There you see the wild card standings and going into play today. You got the Brewers only 3.5 out. Miami 4.5 and St. Louis 5. Popped up. Playable for Harrison. Inning over. And a 4. 2-1 Pirates.
In my mind, it was bore out of him just observing the fact that I was kind of free and loose and kind of a hippie in a way and played the guitar and just had this fun-loving attitude, came to the park every day without too much stress on my face.
On the back of a Royals jersey, it is free love. And, you know, he's a guy that you talk to. It doesn't matter if you're the governor of the state or you're just an everyday Joe. When he talks to you, he looks you in the eye and is as if you're the only person around him or in the room. So giving off that free love, one of the friendliest, most fan-friendly guys we've ever come across, Bronson Arroyo, and oh, could he pitch.
Well, you are right on all accounts right there, Jim Day. We have only played 4 innings in this game. And we're starting the top of the 5th with the Pirates in front 2-1. Mahle in his major league debut set to go to work. And then time called before he ever throws a pitch by Starling Marte. Marte 1 of 2 and an infield hit in the 3rd. Flied out to center leading off the game. Just shoots that one past Votto, cut off by Schebler, and that'll be the 2nd hit of the afternoon for Marte. So this is now the 3rd time through the batting order. The first time through, Mahle walked 2, struck out 3. The 2nd time through the batting order, he walked 2, hit a batter, allowed 2 runs, and struck out 1. He allowed 2 hits the second time through the batting. Or one of them was an infield hit by Marte, and the other one, as Chris mentioned, was just a well-placed ground ball up the first baseline that drove in 2 by Jaso.
Interested to see how Mahle is able to control the running game. Looks like he's got pretty quick feet on that move to first base.
That'll advance the runner along, and Moroff will be given a sacrifice.
Did a nice job right there covering that bunt.
Well, after that flare up, I don't know if it's necessarily between those two guys, but McCutchen coming down to the end of the dugout and giving his manager a hug. Maybe sometimes in the heat of the battle, hey, everybody's guilty of saying something and doing something, even the ones you like and sometimes love the most.
Maybe I should give you more hugs.
Well, somebody suggested that. You showed me the other day when I was talking about the state of pitching today, and one of your friends on Twitter, where there's really a lot of love in that world, suggested that perhaps that you give me a hug. So there is some love, I guess, out there. McCutchen, if you weren't with us, he was really upset his last time at the plate. First pitch knocked him down on his back on a fastball up under his chin. And then we could clearly see him asking for timeout as he continued to stand in the batter's box. And the umpire, as we talk about regularly, does not have to grant a player asking for time. McCutchen wound up swinging at the pitch while he's standing there asking for timeout. Hit a ground ball to shortstop. He didn't even get 3/4 of the way to the bag. He was thrown out and was already sprinting back to get in the face of the home plate umpire, Jeff Kellogg. Runner at second, 1 out for McCutchen. Might have been Mahle's highest velocity pitch of the game. I don't know if he hit anything higher than the 96. That was a fastball up. Only point being is that here you are in the 82 pitch mark, and he's still got plenty apparently in that tank.
Well, I like the action on the fastball. He works underneath that four-seamer just a little bit, and it has some nice carry action. He gets a lot of foul backs.
I guess he's had a 98-mile-per-hour fastball today. There's a base hit into center field, some kind of off-speed pitch there. McCutchen will drive in the run. So a single, a sacrifice, and a single. Plates the third Pirate run in this game against Mahle, and it's a 2-run Pittsburgh lead.
Well, one of the big differences, obviously, between pitching down in Louisville and then coming up here to the big leagues, there are no Andrew McCutchens down there who take hanging breaking balls and center them up pretty well. Even just a flick of the wrist right there.
Well, a few bodies beginning to stir around. No one up and throwing yet in the Reds bullpen, but there's some activity as Ted Power comes up to his feet and walks to the bullpen mound, and someone is going to get started here shortly. In the air, left center field. This will be playable for Hamilton. Should be the second out of the inning. It is, and back to first goes McCutchen. Nice to see Joey Votto there. After that out was recorded, he made it a point to come all the way over to the mound and had a few words with his young pitcher, and then, you know, clapped his hand into his glove as if to say, come on, let's go. Let's get this last out in this inning and move on. Swing and a foul ball over the screen, out of play. Alejandro Chachin is the pitcher. Brian Price is asked to get ready down in the bullpen. Swing and a miss. So Mahle gets through 5. We'll see if he gets a chance to go back out there at the 92 pitch mark for the 6th. Cozart, Votto, Duvall coming up. Reds down a couple of runs.
May not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Zach Cozart leads off, his nickname Coach. And how about his son Cooper? Lil Coach. That's what you call adorable. They call him Coach because he's the veteran. Everyone goes to him about everything, and he's pretty much, as far as the players go, players coach.
That's why, as you watch Cozart here over the next, 5.5 weeks, as we're winding down, calendar will turn to the month of September here in a handful of days. And, since the very first day Cozart came up to the big leagues, it was shortly thereafter he had that injury, you may remember, to his elbow on a play out at second base while turning a double play on an afternoon game against the Atlanta Braves. It would land him on the disabled list. He's become such a rock-solid presence, not only inside the Reds clubhouse, but in the community. The way he carries himself on the field, off the field. He's everything you want when you draft a player and bring them to the major leagues. But are we seeing the final 5 weeks of Cozart in a Reds uniform? I mean, that old adage is so true. And money talks, and you know what else walks. And Cozart is in line, even if the Reds offer to bring him back for 1 year. That qualifying offer, most have speculated, would be somewhere in the $15 to $18 million range. As that one is dropped into right center field, that'll be a base hit for Cozart. And in reality, when you're the Reds and you look ahead to next year and you call this a rebuild, but they have 4 players under contract next year, they're going to chew up over $70 million. Could you have a 5th player added to that? And you start your payroll after 5 players if you brought a guy like Cozart back on that qualifying offer at 84, 85 million plus. Those are the decisions that people in management and ownership and in baseball operations have to make.
Well, I guess part of the decision-making process, Tom, is to evaluate where the team is in reference to the rebuild. I mean, if what you see out of the young pitching here in the last month of the year gives you an indication that maybe 2018 is your competitive year, your first of competitive years, then maybe you spend the extra money for Cozart to solidify the offensive lineup and the defense. Or maybe you think, we can't trust all these young guys for the entire year. Maybe we need to go out and get a veteran pitcher, another Scott Feldman type pitcher. It's going to give them some innings. That'll cost you some money. I think Feldman this year was only $4.5 million total. But, you've got to commit to something if you're going to go into the free agent market.
Good fastball there by Taillon. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Votto. He's closing in on seeing 30 pitches from this guy. And we're only 3 pitches in his 3rd at bat.
Yeah, and it's one reason why Taillon has hit the 100 pitch mark.
Votto's walked twice.
That's the interesting thing really about Votto. It just seems to me when he mishits the ball, it goes foul. When he hits it on the screws, it stays fair. And the idea of a pitcher looking for an easy inning is to have a guy mishit a ball fair. And Votto refuses to do that consistently.
It's even funny sometimes with Votto how I think he even surprises all of us who see him play every day. And what a great, what a great seat we have for one of the game's all-time great hitters. But yesterday, for example, Votto swung at the first pitch in each of his first 2 times at the plate. He had seen 2 pitches in 2 at-bats against the starter Garrett Cole. And yet here today, I mean, it is a complete 180 against Jamison Taillon. Where he normally is somewhere in between. Because he does, for a patient batter, swing at a lot of first pitches in at-bats throughout the course of the season. be the 30th pitch Votto has seen from Taillon in this game. 3-2 is on the way, and he pulls a foul. Nobody out. Reds batting in the bottom of the 5th inning. Cozart a single to start it. 3-2 to Joey Votto. And there's another walk. 3rd time he's walked today. And for Taillon, that's his 4th walk issued in the game. I'm sure that his manager would love to see him stay in there and try to qualify for a win, but he doesn't care about it that much because he's coming to get it at the 107 pitch mark. Here in the 5th inning. Not a single out recorded by Taillon in the 5th inning. Well, we saw Juan Nicasio in the game here last night, and they're going to bring in A.J. Schugel to be the first pitcher out of their bullpen today. This is our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. We're back in a moment. A lot of time in there. You're normally dialed in. You got the computer working up here in the booth. You and Joel Luckham.
That's a good looking place up there. I am going to have to go spend some time up there. A.J. Schugel, right-hander in the ball game here in the 5th inning for Taillon.
Taillon allows 5 hits in 4+ innings. 107 pitches. He walks 4, strikes out 4. Only allowed the 1 run. And he pitched out of a huge jam. Going back to that Reds 3rd inning when they had the bases loaded and nobody out. This was a man he got the first out on in that inning when he struck out Adam Duvall. First 2 aboard with the Reds down a couple of runs. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Duvall is fly to center and then struck out. That's the area they've been getting ahead of Duvall here the last couple of days. Working that outside corner with the off-speed stuff. Cleveland Indians are just laying it on the Kansas City Royals for a second straight weekend. It is in the 6th inning, and the Indians have a 12-0 lead. Trying to win their 4th straight game and starting to play so well. 2-2 pitch. That's a swing and a miss. The ball gets away from the catcher. And Duvall will head back to the dugout. The other runners will advance, so the Reds will have him at 2nd and 3rd on the wild pitch. 1 out in the inning.
Well, the pitch in the dirt, and you know that looks like an off-speed pitch, like a changeup right there. It came back, and you know we're seeing Duvall chase more and more of these. I think a little bit lately, Tom. You made a comment a week or so ago that you know it just seems like Duvall, who plays just about every day, it just seems a little bit on the fatigue side. You want to keep him in there because he's such a good run producer, but at the same time, you got to give him a little breather every once in a while.
All right, big chance here now for Scooter Gennett. Reds are down 2 runs with a pair of runners in scoring position and 1 out. Scooter has had a very quiet homestand. He had a double his first time up today. That's only his 4th hit on it. And that's through 3 games against Chicago and the first 2 games against the Pirates. He's been so good for so long that it's rare to see him not making a lot of noise. He has a chance to change that right here and right now. And he'll get in a run. Nice play made by the second baseman Moroff. Scoring is Cozart to make it a 3-2 game on the ground out, and advancing on to 3rd is Joey Votto. So that run, of course, is charged to Taillon. And Votto, the runner at his 3rd base spot right now, belongs to the Pittsburgh starter, who obviously cannot win this game. Nor can he lose this game. If Votto were to even tie the game, that would be all for Taillon's line today. Jose Peraza walked and fly to center field. Flied out to center, leaving the bases loaded for that final out in the 3rd. Ball and 2 strikes. Tying run is Votto down at 3rd base. Schugel to the plate. Straight up in the air on a fastball into short right. And that's all for the Reds. They do get a run. We've played 5, and it's a 1-run Pittsburgh lead.
is over. Kevin Shackelford will take over on the mound, and these rookie pitchers are going to be on pitch counts coming up. Not sure how many starts Tyler Mahle will make with the big club, but he and Luis Castillo are both on pitch counts. And Chris, you talked about this last night. The general number is to throw 30 or 35 more innings than they did last year. They would like both of them to pitch into September, but neither one, at least according to the Reds now, will finish the season through September. So at some point, these youngsters are going to be shut down.
Yeah, and Jim, I'm curious if you followed up anymore. There was a short time there knowing Castillo's situation, and this was before we knew that Mahle was going to be brought to the major leagues, but there was talk for a little while there that in September, as the rosters expand and maybe you bring up the Cody Reeds and the Rookie Davises, et cetera, of the world, that they might go to a 6-man rotation because of that.
He did talk about, at least for a brief period of time, going to a 6-man rotation. They do have a lot of off days coming up. I think the rest of the Mondays of the season, if I'm not incorrect, are all off days other than Labor Day. So it'll be an interesting situation. You do have guys like Rookie Davis who are on the 40-man who were injured for a great part of the season, so his innings aren't up there. So there'll be some other young guys that'll get chances that are on the 40-man.
All right, Jim Day, thank you very much. Well, it was a couple of nights ago for the first time where the young man on the mound, Alejandro Chachin, made his Cincinnati Reds. Oh, no, I beg your pardon. They ended up bringing in Shackelford.
Yes,
so
Chachin was warming up, but Shackelford comes in the game.
So I beg your pardon. Well, here's a guy that gave Tyler Mahle some fits today, and that's Jaso. He had a couple of really good plate appearances. A lengthy at bat, which wound up being a walk in the second inning, and then he had that bouncing ball of the first base line that was barely fair that drove in the first 2 Pittsburgh runs. Shackelford making his 11th appearance since he was brought back to the major leagues on the 29th of July. It's his second stint with the Reds this season. He was around for a few days in June. He's only pitched in 1 game in his homestand, and it was not pretty. Allowed 3 hits, 4 walks, and 3 earned runs against Chicago.
Or Jaso unloads on every pitch like he wants to hit it in the river, doesn't he?
Votto, and Joey will handle it himself. 1 out. Good start for Kevin Shackelford here in the 6th. All right, Chris, overall, you know, you've watched a lot of guys come and go and pitch for a long time in the big leagues. Your overall assessment of Tyler Mahle in his major league debut today?
Overall, the entire package, I like it and like it a lot. I think there's deception in the fastball, nice, easy delivery. And I think he'll just get better. His command will get better. I'm sure he was still nervous, you know, even though you get past the first inning, doesn't mean your nerves are going to go away in your major league debut. Anxious to see him pitch some more. I've been really impressed with those guys that have come up here and thrown strikes. You know, primarily Castillo, more recently Sal Romano, who's always thrown pretty many strikes up here. I think they're going in the right direction.
You know, this is the first time, and granted, it's only 1 turn through the rotation. That would not be the case with Castillo because he's been really good basically since the day he came up here. But this is the first time all year long where now you have 4 rookies in the Red starting rotation, and you see 1 time through where you can get excited about it. Now, a week from now, we might feel totally different. The Reds might feel totally different depending on what all those young guys do. But this time through the rotation, it has been very, very encouraging. Romano's now had back-to-back really good starts. Stevenson's have been slightly less than those because he hasn't pitched as deep into games. Although Stevenson got a lot of leash in the game here a couple of nights ago, up over 100 pitches from his manager, Brian Price.
He sure had a pretty good breaking ball. That's one of the best breaking balls I've seen all year long by anybody. And I really like the way Romano pitched against the Cubs. The Cubs offer a special challenge to right-handed pitchers when they load the lineup up with lefties.
Broken bat, bouncer down to third. So Shaq, as they call it, has retired the first two.
Well, Shaq is going to face, in this at bat, El Maracucho. Diaz is from Maracaibo, Venezuela, and I had to look it up because I was wondering what that meant. And evidently it is slang. It's a Venezuelan slang. It's a Venezuelan form of Spanish slang for, like, the life of the party, a clown who can't say 3 words without making a joke. Maracucho.
They start calling Jim Day El Maracucho. Swing and a miss, and that will end the inning. How about Shackelford? A 1-2-3-6. Reds are down a run. Faith concert featuring Crowder, presented by Presco. Don't miss a Grammy Award nominated artist when he performs Forgiven, Lift Your Head, Weary Sinner, and more live on the field. Reds take on the Brewers. You can be here for $12. Visit Reds.com. That'll be a big day. Reds now come to bat here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. They trail the Pirates by a run. A.J. Schugel on in relief of the starter Tyone, who went 4+ innings, allowed 2 runs earned, walked 4, fanned 4, allowed 5 hits. 7, 8, 9 in the Reds batting order. Schebler to be followed by Wallach. And then we'll see. Drew Storen apparently now beginning to get loose in the bullpen. And there's a walk to Shevler. We're only in the bottom of the 6th inning. That is the 5th walk given up by Pittsburgh pitching. The Reds have walked 4 batters, all 4 of those by the starter Tyler Mahle in his major league debut today. Wallach so far has struck out and popped up to center field. Reds have Eugenio Suarez standing in the on-deck circle. Broken bat pop up to the right side. That'll be the first out of the inning, and here comes Suarez. A rare day off for him today. He'll bat representing the go-ahead run here in the Reds' 6th inning. Suarez has had an excellent homestand. 7 hits and 18 at bats, a double, 3 home runs, 6 knocked in. In fact, here in the month of August, Suarez, a .333 batter, 8 home runs, 19 runs batted in, an on-base percentage of .481, and a slugging percentage of .718. Will be Storen. One ball and 2 strikes on Suarez. That's all for Suarez for the 2nd out of the inning.
Schugel throws that little splitter. It looks like kind of a modified Fosh pitch. And a Fosh pitch is a pitch where you actually hold between your middle finger and your ring finger. I didn't get a really good look at that grip, but it acts like a splitter, and it goes down and into Suarez. Really tied him up. Was up last year just about the entire year with the Pirates. This year he's done about half time down in AAA and half the time up here. Yeah, it's right between his middle finger and his ring finger, and it'll act just like a splitter, which is what you put between your index finger and your middle finger. Just different grips for different guys.
And the out is a call at second base. That'll be all for the Reds in the 6th inning. Pirates lead by a run. We're off to the 7th. Reds had a big chance in the 3rd inning to add to a 1-0 lead. It started with a strike 3 breaking ball, 2 new ball, a pop-up by Jeanette, and a fly ball by Peraza. In the 4th inning, wildness for Tyler Mahle allowed a couple of runs to score. McCutchen knocked in a 3rd run against the 22-year-old Californian in the 5th. Reds got 1 back with runners at 2nd and 3rd. Jeanette grounded out to score Zach Kozai. And Mahle in his major league debut goes 5 innings, allows 4 hits, only for the 2nd time in his pro career walks 4 batters in a game. He struck out 5, allowed the 3 runs. Drew Storn will take over on the mound for the Reds, and he starts off 2 balls and no strikes. Jose Osuna has moved into the on-deck circle. Or I beg your pardon, he is stepping up there to the plate, and he is batting for the pitcher, Schugel. It's a number 9 spot. The 8-hole hitter struck out to end the last inning. 3rd time we've seen Osuna as a pinch hitter in this series. Swinging a foul ball back. In the 8th inning last night, he flied out to right. In the 6th inning on Friday night, he struck out against Tim Adelman. Nice inning for Shackelford. Perfect frame with a strikeout. And now Storen. Drew trying to right the ship after some rocky outings of late. He's put together back-to-back outings on this homestand where he's worked a scoreless inning. 1 against the Pirates and 1 against Chicago. Twice in a span of 3 appearances over the last week and a half. Storen allowed a career-high 6 runs. His season ERA went from 3.2 to 4.7. And that is Steve Reich 3 to Osuna. Good pitch.
Now just threading the needle on the outside part of the plate right there.
Been a good day for Marte after struggling the first 2 games of this series with only 1 hit, a lot of strikeouts. He has 2 hits so far and has scored a run. Waves through that breaking ball down and away, and it's 0-2. That's a good pitch for Storen when he's got that thing working and guys are chasing.
Well, it's a really good pitch to throw to Marte because he will chase.
Wallach will come out there and get it. 2 down. We'll get inside the Golf Zone with Jimmy Hanlon tonight. Highlights from the first leg of the FedEx Cup, plus helpful tips to bring down your score. The Golf Zone presented by Varmint Guard teams off tonight at 8 o'clock on Fox Sports Ohio and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Moroff very early in this game replaced the starter Adam Frazier. He was taken out after bouncing into a double play in the 3rd inning. One ball and 2 strikes, and Storen a strike away from a perfect 7th. The Reds will have the top of the order in the bottom of the inning, trailing by 1. Bottom fell out of that pitch. That's an impressive 7th inning for Storen. Retires aside and I'm sorry. I guess he foul tipped that ball. Looked initially like it was not tipped, but apparently it was. So the inning continues. That ball foul tipped to you?
Did not.
So the at-bat continues since that pitch was deemed a foul tip by Moroff. McCutchen, a base hit in 3 at bats, has knocked in a run today. 3-2. It'll be the 10th pitch in this at bat. Storing against Moroff. It should have been over 3 pitches ago. Got to be a little unsettling out there on the mound when you know you've had a guy put away for 4 or 5 pitches. Obviously, you've got to, bear down and get it together and do your job and get the guy out. But you thought you had him. Now you got 4 or 5 more pitches in a 3-2 count, and if he finds a way to get on, you got to face McCutchen.
Well, that's why you got to put it out of your mind and not worry about that. Next pitch is the most important pitch.
And he strikes him out anyway. So we're going to keep it right here for the singing of God Bless America, as we always do on Sundays. Reds are only down a run, and the top of the order coming up.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please stand. Kindly remove your hats and face the American flag. Major League Baseball, the Reds and the Pirates salute the men and women of our armed forces, as well as those who serve to protect in our local police and fire departments. At this time, please help us honor these brave men and women and all our veterans of service, and welcome Smooth Transition as they lead us in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America. White with foam, God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Baseball at the ballpark for a total of $20. How are you going to beat that? It's a Paycor Business Day special. You get a ticket to see the Reds and the Brewers plus $10 in concession credits. Visit reds.com/skipwork. Some restrictions may apply. Here we go into the bottom of the 7th inning. Top of the order for the Reds. And taking over on the mound, we saw him here in the series opener, and he had a very odd outing in that game, was Daniel Hudson. Hudson in the 6th inning, his first inning, struck out the side. But then in the 7th inning, he walked a batter, he hit 2 batters, and had to leave the game with the bases loaded. Was charged with 2 runs on a 2-run double by Kiblahan. A little roller out in front of the plate. And Hamilton thrown out by Hudson.
Well, Hudson was once a 16-game winner for the Arizona Diamondbacks. That was a while ago when he was a starter. Started 33 games that year in 2011. He's also had roadblocks like Tommy John surgeries, as in plural, 2 of those. Now pitching exclusively out of the bullpen, really, ever since he came back from those surgeries, first with Arizona, and then this year, the first year as a Pirate.
They paid a lot of money to bring in Daniel Hudson as a free agent. That's a nice pickup. They had the shift on Kozite. Moroff snatches that hard hit, short hop line drive, and turns it into an out. Quickly 2 gone for Hudson.
Yeah, so far the relief corps for the Pirates have done a nice job. Schugel did a nice job in his couple of innings, and now Hudson 2/3 of the way through the 7th inning with very little effort, 3 pitches.
Yeah, Schugel, in fact, did not allow a hit. He walked 1 batter, struck out 2. Ball and 1 strike on Joey Votto's walked 3 times in the game today. All 3 against Tyone, the starter.
And I want to say 2 of those came after he had an 0-2 count. To go back and check that, I know one of them did.
Now, you know, we talked earlier about the guy on deck, Adam Duvall. I brought it up, as you mentioned, you know, early in his homestand about all the miles he's been logging, innings, and has not had a day off. You know, I almost wonder, you know, if Votto perhaps would not fall into that same category. I mean, you're talking about a guy that since he signed that huge contract, what, only 1 player in Major League Baseball has started more games than Joey Votto? Evan Longoria. I mean, it's incredible. And Votto, for the first time all year long on this homestand, has had an extended run of not swinging the good bat on this homestand. He's walked a lot, but only 4 hits through, what, now 6 games. Maybe he needs a break. Everybody will get a break tomorrow. It's the 4th time in Votto's career he's walked 4 times in a single game.
Wow. And none of them intentional walks.
You know, you had a great line the other night. Sometimes a manager needs to save a player from himself. And that's true. And I'm not suggesting that, I don't want anybody to think, I don't want to put words in a guy's mouth. I'm not saying Joey Votto is tired. Only Joey Votto knows if he's tired. But there can be certain signs where it makes you wonder, hey, do you connect the dots a little bit? Duvall is 3 for 24 on this homestand with 1 extra base hit. This guy's been among the leading run producers in the National League for the last 2 years. He's 3 for 24 on the homestand. Fly ball to right. The inning is over. 1 man left. We played 7. It's still a 1-run Pittsburgh lead at 3-2.
Baseball to me. He made it fun. It was something I looked forward to. I don't ever remember going out and dreading it. I always remember getting excited about being able to share that with him.
Wearing his dad on his sleeve. Votto's father, Joseph, unfortunately died in August of 2008. And at that time, Joey, a much younger player, person, really took it hard at the time. And got to tell you, the last couple of years, Joey's really changed. Seems to be much more comfortable in his own skin, if you will, much more fan-friendly, and has just turned the corner as a person. I think just simple maturing, getting into his 30s.
Well, we talk so, frequently, Jim, about, how well you've gotten to know him through the years. And, I mean, look, if anybody out there would be able to make those comments, you would be that guy. Michael Lorenzen has been quite sharp the last couple of times out. And he takes over now here in the 8th inning.
Well, the Reds relievers, like the Pirate relievers, have done a nice job in this ball game.
Now they got a perfect inning out of Shackelford. They got a perfect inning out of Drew Storen. So Lorenzen trying to keep him right there and give his team a chance to rally back from a run down over the last couple of innings. There's ball 4 on a 3-2 breaking ball. So a walk to McCutchen to start the Pittsburgh 8th inning. Josh Bell is 0 for 2. He has struck out, walked, scored, and flied to center field. McCutchen has 10 steals and 13 attempts. This ball is driven deep into left center field, and it's up against the wall. McCutchen is on his way to third. They'll hold him there on a double by Bell, and trouble a brewing here in the Pittsburgh 8th inning after a leadoff walk.
Where Josh Bell's had a nice series here. He has really shown himself to be a left-handed or a switch hitter to be reckoned with. Good power the other way. Lorenzen elevates, and Josh Bell puts a hammer to that changeup.
Bell was on base 4 times, had 4 hits. On Friday night, scored twice, hit a 3-run home run. He's had a couple of doubles, also walked again, scored a run since that game Friday. Good looking player, having just an excellent rookie year. A year under normal seasons, it would win him the Rookie of the Year award. But with what Cody Bellinger, we've talked so much about him and what he's done with the Dodgers since they brought him to the big leagues, it more than likely means, although not a slam dunk, I mean, who knows what happens the last 5 weeks of the season. All of a sudden, Bell goes off and plays like he's played in this series, and he knocks in 95 or 100. Who knows? Lorenzen got away with one there. Harrison fouling it straight back. Josh is 0 for 2. Was hit by a pitch in the 4th inning by Tyler Mahle and scored. Whoa, is that in time? Oh, it's not. Very close. You saw Jeanette pointing right at his shortstop Cozart, saying, man, that's knowing what you're going to do if it's hit to you.
Exactly. And that's just part of the fundamentals of preparing to play baseball. I mean, this is the question that the real pros ask themselves over and over again. If the ball's hitting me, what am I going to do with it? And what if it's hitting different ways? Let's catch a break right there with a line drive right at him, and they'll walk the bases loaded now.
And they send Jaso down to first base, and now it'll be Sean Rodriguez. With the bases loaded and 1 out. Rodriguez has struck out, walked, and grounded to third. No on Rodriguez. Grounded foul. Double play ball here. There's one. And that's a double play to get out of the inning. How about that? Good work by Lorenzen. Reds are down a run. They bat in the 8th. In September and on the 16th. Thanks to John Morrell, the first 20,000 fans through the gates received that triple bobblehead featuring Reds first baseman past and present. Tony Perez, Sean Casey, Joey Votto. For tickets to that, visit Reds.com. All right, the Pirate bullpen, they've had 3 innings of no-hit, shutout baseball. 2 from Schugel, 1 from Hudson. Hudson didn't walk him out. And now they'll hand the ball with a 1-run lead here in the bottom of the 8th inning to Juan Nicasio.
Well, he's the 8th inning guy, and we saw him last night's ball game in the 8th inning. 65 games now for Nicasio. Having a really brilliant year.
Short center field. What a play made out there by Rodriguez. That's a game-changing play right there.
All right, you're looking back up over your shoulder into the sun as that ball is kind of curving away from you. He knew that McCutchen wasn't going to get it. McCutchen was playing very deep right there, and that's a dandy.
I mean, that's an easy stand-up double there for Scooter Gennett if that ball falls in. Scooter was only about 4 steps away from a second base bag. So the leadoff man retired, and now Peraza. Nicasio, a perfect inning here last night. He faced Barnhart, Cozart, and Hamilton in the 8th inning, and he was protecting a 1-run lead last night as well. A game the Pirates would win by a run, 1-0.
We talked about the adjustment that Jose Peraza is trying to make at the plate to basically get his bottom part of his body in sync with his upper part of the body. And that meant taking his front foot and bringing it back a little bit so he would stay back over his back leg a little bit more. But now he's moving both feet. You haven't seen that very much. He actually takes a step back with his right foot and a step back with his left foot. Anyway, ground ball out, 2 up, 2 down.
Coming up after today's game and after every game on Fox Sports Ohio, we Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. We invite you to stick around. Jim Day will be posting from Fox Sports Ohio condominium. Looks pretty quiet out on the river today. Well, those fellas look like they've been out. A lot of sunshine today on this perfect Sunday afternoon. One ball and one strike on Schebler, who has 25 home runs. That's one crack of the bat away from tying this thing up. They have Barnhart in the on-deck circle. That's more your style there, Chris. That
Our
triple
friendship.
decker. Fly bridge up there. Ground ball down to first, and it will be a third inning of no-hit shutout baseball for a Pirate reliever. 4 total.
About triple plays, rare enough to smile about. Check out the Phillies. That's our youngster Haskins out there and left. It is a catch. Throwing to second, throwing to first. Triple play against the Cubbies and taking it off the turf. Nice play. Phillies leading 5-3 over the Cubs right now.
All right, 3-2 ball game, and Raisel Iglesias will now take over on the mound for the Redlegs. Trying to keep it right here. Pirates threaten to add to the 1-run lead against Lorenzen in the 8th inning. But he was able to get out of it. Second and third, got a line drive off the bat of Harrison for the first out after an intentional walk. A double play ended the inning. Well, giddy up there on that Iglesias fastball. We know he has plenty of that. He's ahead of Diaz, 8, 9, and 1 in the Pirate order here in the ninth. That'll be the way the Reds started in the bottom of the inning, 8, 9, and 1. So the scheduled hitters will be Wallach, and available on the Reds bench, it'll be a left-hander they'll bring in to try and close it out, Felipe Rivero. And the Reds can counter with either Phillip Ervin, the switch-hitting Tucker Barnhart, or Patrick Kivlahan. They've already used Eugenio Suarez, and those are the only 4 players available on Brian Price's bench going into this game. Iglesias dropped down a little from the side there and able to just muscle that thing into right as Diaz. Boy, how much have the Reds used their bullpen this season? This is a remarkable number. They've pitched over 500 innings, eclipsing that mark today in the 131st game of the season. Only the 2012 Colorado Rockies, who hit the 500 mark in game number 127, faster in the history of baseball to reach 500 innings pitched out of your bullpen in a season. That is incredible.
Sure is.
Just incredible. I mean, this Reds pitching staff last year set some dubious marks in the history of the franchise, for that matter, in the history of Major League Baseball. Their starters, their bullpen, walks, home runs allowed. But this year's staff has been worse than last year's staff on multiple fronts. And a lot of it might have to do with the fact that this bullpen, which at one time this year was really, really good, is just wearing down. There's a double in the right center field by the pinch hitter David Freese, and they will hold Diaz at third base. So just like the last inning started for the Pirates, they have second and third with nobody out.
Well, Freese, who has really done nothing in this entire series, comes up as a pinch hitter and finds the gap in right center field. So opposite field hitting so far out of its first 2 Pirates that Iglesias has faced here in the ninth.
So the Reds are going to bring the infield in. You have the right-handed batting Marte, and that's a pitch he'll figure to attack Marte with. We talked about it with Marte when Drew Storen worked him over with breaking balls down and away. Left that one up and in. That's not where he wanted that to be, and he's lucky that came too far in, because if that baby stays in the middle of the plate, it can become a 4-run game. Whew. Came back with a fastball, beat him at 97 to get ahead at 1 ball and 2 strikes. So one would assume that that breaking ball down and away would be in the offing here, Iglesias to Marte. But we'll see. Broken back, base hit into left center. That'll score 2 runs. And that takes 3-2 to 5-2 here in the ninth with still nobody out. 3 straight hits against Raisel Iglesias in a non-close situation.
Well, you use Iglesias here in this situation because when you're playing at home, once you get past the 9th inning, there are no save opportunities. Couple of flares, that being one of them right there. It didn't look like a bad pitch by Iglesias, but I don't think he got it where he wanted it.
And now Marte is off to the races, picks up his 13th stolen base. Reds will get some action started down in their bullpen. Somebody's down there throwing. It's Tim Adelman down there getting loose. To the count on Moroff. Hook to the right side. That's a nice job by Moroff. He's made a few plays here today, Moroff. Put down a bunt, which led to a run back in the 5th. Made a couple of nice defensive plays out at second base. And he did not even start this game today. Just a good, solid, fundamental day for him.
Yeah, you don't really know how much playing time he's going to get up here, although Adam Frazier left this ball game with a leg injury. Well, they have just had one injury after another on this Pirates team.
Sam Moroff has had some impressive years coming up through their minor league system. He's still he just turned 24 years old. Popped up. They're going to run on the arm of Shevlik. Yes, they are. Nope. Marte started and stopped.
Well, you have Josh Bell coming up.
Runner at third with 2 away. Bell has walked, scored. He's also doubled. Fouled out of play. Giving chase is Duvall, and that's a foul ball. And a good thing. Pirates have added 2 runs here in the 9th inning off Iglesias. We invite you to get ready 30 minutes before the start of every game we have in Reds baseball right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Join us for Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. We've mentioned it tomorrow will be an off day for the Redlegs, and then they're back at it on Tuesday night. Hard to believe we're in the last handful of days in August, and there's a team in the National League the Reds haven't played. That would be the New York Mets, and that will change on Tuesday night at 6:30 for Reds Live. Pirates get a pair in the 9th. Reds will back down by 3. Ohio brought to you by Kroger. Stop by your neighborhood Kroger to save big store-wide. Great food, low prices at Kroger. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to Cincinnati. USA.com. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. So the Reds will bat here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Instead of a 1-run game, now 3 runs. And that's a tall task the way Felipe Rivero is throwing the ball now that he is the closer of this Pittsburgh team. He came on to get his 15th save of the year last night, gunning for 16 today. He's blown just 1 save. See that 1.27 ERA.
Really amazing what he has done, and he's a guy that's been around a couple of different teams already. He originally signed with the Tampa Bay Rays in 2008 as a teenager. He represented the Rays 4 years later in the Futures game, and then he was traded to the Nationals along with Jose Lobaton in exchange for Nate Carnes. He eventually came over here in the trade for Mark Melancon just about 13 months ago, right before the trade deadline in 2016.
In the air, hit well to deep right center field, and that'll be caught. While it drives one to the wall in right center. Patrick Kiblahan will come up and bat for the pitcher Iglesias, who goes 1 inning. Allows 3 hits, 2 runs earned. Did not strike out a batter today, Rice Hill. That's rare, nor did he walk a batter. Schugel would be in line for the victory for Pittsburgh here. He worked 2 solid innings in relief of the starter Tayo. And of course, Tyler Mahle is the pitcher of record for the Reds, and this his major league debut. 0-1 to Kiblahan. Reds had dominated the Pirates before this series began, and then they took it to them here on Friday night. But the Pirates trying to make it back-to-back wins. And by doing so, should they get 2 more outs before the Reds score 4 runs or 3 to tie it, it would be the first series win for Pittsburgh against the Reds this year. That guy's all right down there. Big fella. He turned around. A ball was hit behind him in the stands. He turned around to check out, be making a play on a ricochet or see where it went. Next thing you know, it found him right in the boiler. And he's all right. It stung him a little bit down there. He's okay. Good for him. His wife patting him on the back. Base hit by Kiblahan. See if that can get something started. The Reds have 2 outs to play with, and they're down by 3. Now the goal here in this inning is to bring Votto to the plate if you're able. He would be 3 hitters away as Hamilton comes up. Cozart next to Joey. Two out. The Reds down to their final out with Cozart coming up. So now Cozart. Reds trailing 5-2 with 2 down and a runner on here in the last of the 9th inning, trying to give Votto a shot. But of course Cozart would need to reach base, and even then, as great as Votto is, it's a tall order for a left-hander to do anything against Felipe Rivero. He has not allowed a hit to a left-handed batter in 41 straight at bats. May not matter. It's a ground ball to short. And it's in the dirt. Goes to show you never know. Rodriguez gets a little sloppy on the throw. And so the Reds have a fighting chance. What a time for a lazy throw by Rodriguez.
Yeah, he just looked like he just kind of goosed it over there a little bit. Didn't put much on it. That's one of those you think is just so automatic. What do you think Clint Hurdle's thinking right now of all the guys in this Reds lineup to bring up? He's had 4 bases on balls. Now he faced Rivero last night, and he struck out.
All right, let's see if Votto can do something with it. Breaking ball away. Votto has walked 4 times in the game today. 4th time he's done that in his major league career. And until this at bat, he had tied a record for the most pitches seen in a game with 4 or fewer plate appearances. 37 of them today. Breaking ball is inside, 2-0. Two-0 delivery coming. And it's in there, a fastball strike. Two-one delivery to Votto from Rivero. Fastball up and in. A 3-1 count coming up to Joey Votto, who represents a tying run with 2 outs and 2 on here in the bottom of the 9th. Full count through a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. Concern from the Pirate fans. Still hope for the Reds fans. 3-2 pitch. And they are loaded for Adam Duvall. It's the 2nd time in Votto's career he's walked 5 times in a game. Reds are going to pinch run for Votto. They'll bring in Phillip Ervin. So Ervin runs very, very well. And of course, he carries the tying run at first. The manager, Clint Hurdle's going to come to the mound here. No, I beg your pardon. That is Ray Searage after all. Saw that jacket. Thought that was Hurdle. He had a jacket on earlier.
You know, dressed the way they are, they look a little alike like that. Side by side, Hurdle's a little taller.
Yeah. But that's Ray Searage. Been around a long time as Clint Hurdle's pitching coach.
He and I were teammates back in minor league days. Oklahoma City 89ers.
Nice. Well, now one mighty crack of the bat and the Reds would go home winners. Duvall is the winning run at the plate. Bases loaded. 2 outs. Last of the 9th inning. Rivero the batter, or the pitcher, and the breaking ball is low and away. Been a very quiet day again for Duvall, 0 for 4. And we talked about how quiet he has been on this homestand. And look at those numbers for a guy that's knocked in almost 90 runs. In 21 at-bats this year with the bases loaded, he's knocked in just 12. But none of those numbers mean anything if he can get down to business here. And a ground ball to short will end the inning on the force out and the game. So the Reds load him up on a hit, an error, and a walk. End up stranding 11. But lose by a final count of 5-2, and the Pirates win this series, capturing the final 2 games after a Reds win on Friday night. All right, time for Reds Live, and let's go right now and get that underway with Jim Day.
All right, coming up, we'll look back at Tyler Mahle's major league debut. It's been much anticipated, and we'll show you the highlights of this one. We'll hear what Brian Price has to think about Tyler Mahle and more. Check out that cutie. We're in the Fox Sports Ohio Condominium on Family Day. We're back.